Good evening. You're watching News at 7 with Banur Qureshi. Let's take a look on the top stories we'll be discussing tonight, and we'll start with intelligence-based operations carried by Pakistan security forces result in killing 108 militants in Balochistan. According to the military's media wing, weapons and ammunition materials were found during the raids. We'll discuss about these military operations, intelligence-based operations, and obviously the role of neighboring countries in promoting proxies in Balochistan, and especially the diplomatic implications related to it. That in News at 7 will move forward and discuss about US-Iran tensions, where US has issued a serious warning to Iran to stop its nuclear program and stop killing the protesters in Iran. While on the other hand, Iran has rejected to limit its defensive missile capabilities and mentioned that Iran is open to talk, but it is not possible to stop the nuclear program and limits the defensive missile capabilities by Iran. We'll discuss about that, and especially the role mediators could play at this time. It is a very important time where the tensions between US and Iran are increasing day by day. But we'll start with intelligence-based operations, as Pakistan security forces have carried out intelligence-based operations in Balochistan, killing 108 terrorists in two separate actions in Harno and Panjgur districts. According to the military's media wings, weapon, ammunition and other material were recovered during the raids, and leaders in Islamabad have praised the forces' efforts. So we'll break down what happened and what it means for the security in the region and security in Pakistan, and especially security related to the South Asia. To talk about that, we are joined by Brigadier retired Nawaz, who's a defense analyst, and then we'll be having Abdullah Khan as well. He's the security analyst. Welcome you both into tonight's News at 7. Brigadier Saab, I'll start from you. That how significant are these operations, obviously in weakening the militant network in Balochistan?
Doing day and night intelligence-based operation, and you must have realized almost 200 to 250 intelligence-based operations every day they are being conducted, combined at Balochistan and KPK. And success rates have been very, very good. And the way you must have seen is yesterday, how they came and they attacked our 12 cities, but then see the response, timely response of our security forces. And I think not only that, they did not allow them to succeed in their operation, whatever they wanted to do it, but they killed over 100 terrorists, and they are the fifth Hindustan. And along with the way they conducted the operation with most professional way, along with all good coordination with helicopter, drones, and I think these terrorist organization will remember, and they will think 100 times before now coming for any other operations. Of course, we lost around 10 our troops. They were about the troops and the police people also. But then this is nothing, and the way we have conducted operation, I think we must appreciate our security forces, because our officers, they lead from the front. They are always leading the operation, and that is how our rate of shahadats of our officers is more. But still, we don't bother because we have to lead. They have to lead from the front. The only thing what I say is that now their backbone is broken. They've never suffered so many large quantity of this the killing of persons, and the way they have suffered casualties, and they have lost a lot of weapons and ammunition. I'm sure that they should be having a lot of effect on the morale, and next time they will think 100 times before carrying out any operations.
All right, so coming towards you, Abdullah Khan, being a security analyst, what do you think that how might these operations impact Pakistan's relations with the neighboring countries, or, cross-border security concerns, especially with Afghanistan and with India?
Thank you for having me on your show. Actually, I see it from a broader perspective as well. And let me tell you that we conducted a security intelligence-based operation yesterday and today as well. Had already a clue that there are going to be a big operation. So two types of militants were neutralized. In Harnai, we neutralized TTP, 30 TTP militants yesterday, and then subsequently in Panjgur, we neutralized 11 BLA militants, Fitnatul Hindustan, the Indian sponsored. Both are the Indian sponsored. But the my assessment is that there was a plan to mount operation just like today happened at 12 locations. So they were aiming to conduct operations or attacks in Pashtun areas by TTP and south by the BLA militants. But our intelligence, they already have a clue, so they preempted and they carried out these strikes and neutralized a big number of militants yesterday. And then today we have seen that the BLA was alone and there was no TTP because TTP formation was already neutralized by Pakistani security forces yesterday. Today they appeared in 12 locations, and I have seen that they were very ill prepared. Their training is very limited because in Pasni we have seen the way the Marines neutralized them at different locations. They were uh, as they were just like TikTokers, making videos during operation and sending them back. So their main objective was to create a narrative that there is a poor security situation. Perhaps they were trained to make videos, not to uh, fight properly, and they could not fight, and they could never fight because their training is very very limited, and the way they conduct it is very poor show. But I see it from a broader perspective. We should not look at in isolation because our eastern enemy and there are some extra regional forces. They have their eyes on Balochistan. We have seen a senior official of another country mentioning Balochistan. The next day is Balochistan. We have been seeing some ridiculous kind of maps being promoted by certain forces since 2002-3. So we have to be vigilant. This is situation happening in Iran, around Iran and Persian Gulf. We have to be vigilant that Iran might be a smoke screen and Pakistan might be a target. So we have to step up all kind of our radar sensors, whatever we can say, that these proxies, these are all proxies. They work for some regional forces, some extra regional forces. So we have to be vigilant, and we should not let our guards lower. And I hope that our security forces and state operators is well prepared. But I will just caution that see this operation or these activities, what happened today in Balochistan, not in isolation, but in broader perspective.
Abdullah Khan, sir, you have raised such different aspect of it, that they were making videos. It seems like they were not well trained. So do you really think that they were making videos to have evidence, or there was some surveillance, or they were do you really think that being a security analyst there's some trust deficit, or they were making videos for the social media to build narrative? What is the reason behind that? Or it is something they were doing in hurries, so just to carry out operation, it was not well planned? Can you please elaborate it a bit?
Their main objective was to create a chaos in Balochistan and give this message to the world because recently Pakistan is promoting Balochistan as a main hub of international foreign direct investment. So they wanted to give a message to the international community: look, that we are well armed and confronting the Pakistani security forces. So they wanted to build a narrative around that. They also wanted to actually attract more Baloch youth towards their ranks and files. That look, our females are there fighting, and this was in the content. That look, we the females are there fighting, so you should also join. And they were asking in these videos to the remaining Baloch population that you should also join our fight. So this was all revolving around narrative building, not just evidence collection, because evidence we shown to the world that how our forces neutralized all these militants in Pasni. They got headshots right in their head. So that was their very poor training, that a fighter can never get headshot in such a fight. They can be hit somewhere else, but they were all shot in the head when Pakistani security forces neutralized them. But they did what they wanted, and they wanted to actually give a message to their sponsors as well as the broader Baloch population that look, we are fighting. But practically, I think the upper end at the end was that of the Pakistani security forces.
All right, you have raised such valid, aspects of this intelligence-based operations coming towards you, Brigadier Haris Nawaz. What do you think about kind of, narrative building through social media? It is a time of fifth-generation warfare, and we have seen the militants have been using, and non-state actors have been using social media for recruitment, for the projection, for the narrative building. But it is something really new in the, I'll say in the battlefield when you are going somewhere for the proxies, killing people, you're making videos for, attracting the general audience or, giving the evidence to your handlers. How do you see it being a military man?
You see, the point is, if they wanted to tell the world that there is a problem in Balochistan, and the purpose was to create a lot of confusion, harassment, and show that we are there, Balochistan is not free, and our armed forces are performing their professional duties well. But the point is, if that is possible, only when you really go and do some extra effect. They failed to create any effect. They did not do anything. Rather, they all got killed very soon, immediately. And after that, then what is the purpose of making the videos? Videos, you show what you have caused the effect. If you have entered in some red areas, then of course you've gone to some area, very difficult area that is not over there. Along with that, these videos, they can be old clips also. You see, the point is, they are trying to tell the world that Balochistan is in trouble and armed forces have no control. They are not liking the present government over there. And there are a lot of Balochis are again. It is only 1 or 2%. And these old clips are shown because that is what they create social media of India and this Tariq-e-Taliban, along with this the Khwajis, they were showing also on social media. They were doing a media campaign. In that, these are all, most of them are the old clips, you must understand. And they try to relate it with this operation. Otherwise, when they are fighting for their own survival, it is very difficult to make videos. Nobody can do it. It is, I think, I don't agree with this, that they are making videos and they're doing carrot operations also. And then there are females also, even the 6 terrorists were killed, and one of them is a female. The Bloch culture is there. They never allow ladies to go and fight. They have a lot of respect and they have a lot of morals. But I think they want to tell the world that these females and male, they're all not comfortable with Pakistan, which is absolutely wrong. It is 1 or 2% the Pakistan problem, whereas they are doing a lot of constructive works. They are doing social work. They are making roads, schools, colleges, then cadets colleges. They are doing all sorts of social work. So I think it is just a propaganda. Of course, the Indians are involved in it because the way they were sorted out in Marka Haq Banan Marsoos, and they are now using these proxies to create effect on Pakistan and to make Pakistan destabilized. That is the only reason. And particularly, I would say this is a time when the whole world is looking towards Pakistan. They respect Pakistan. They respect Pakistan forces. They respect Pakistan Field Marshal Asim Munir. So we have to now talk to Americans. Then when you were leaving, you left 7.2 billion weapons and ammunition in Afghanistan, and that is fallen into the hand of these terrorist organization. Then you are giving them $30 to $40 million per week to finance them. So that they have to ensure this financial support should be stopped. At least do something, because we are the only country which is confronting all these terrorist organizations. Either Americans should give us matching weapons and equipment, they give us night fighting capable helicopters or APCs and night fighting capabilities so that we sort them out. These are things we need. But if you have left it and then you left Pakistan to keep fighting with them, we're draining our resources also. We have suffered casualties of 70 to 80,000 people in military persons and economic loss of over $150 billion. Who is responsible for this? I think it is a design. The problem of connectivity through Central Asia,
Okay.
Afghanistan
Okay,
to
your point is
Balochistan.
well taken that it is a designed operation and they are trying to destabilize the security of Pakistan. Moving towards you, Abdullah Khan, so what do you think that are intelligence-based raids and operations sufficient to tackle the militancy, or there should be a broader socio-political approach needed at this time? Because we have seen our civil military government is on the same page when it comes to the security and intelligence based operations. But what do you think, being a security analyst, what should be the next step?
Intelligence-based operations are going very well across the country, not just in Balochistan, but that is not the only solution. The solution lies in a broader way to deal the issue in Balochistan, and that is where the main thing where I think we have to put more attention is the narrative building. The narrative which can be sold to the Baloch people, the narrative which not being so appreciative in Islamabad, but the narrative which the Baloch accept. So that is where I think we lack, and we have to put more efforts, more resources on that. Beside that, we have to bring local government. The local government should be empowered in Balochistan. Currently, the local government system in Balochistan lacks any kind of power. That is just symbolic. We have to empower the local people so that their trust improves in the state structure and the people. So that there are many other things, but we have to deal it from a comprehensive dimension, not just intelligence-based operation. These operations are just
Abdullah Khan, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just want to know what kind of narrative the Balochi people want, because we have seen their minds have been brainwashed, their minds have been hijacked, and we have seen how India is playing role in Balochistan. There are a lot of developmental projects are there. We have CPEC there. With CPEC, there are a lot of development projects are being inaugurated and being run there. So what kind of narrative they want? Actually, they are, most of the people, especially the Balochi youth, is controlled by India. We have seen their radios are in Balochi language, and they're making movies as well. They're making dramas as well to occupy, as we have already talked about, the 5th generation of warfare, because where you are controlling the other person through your media, through your narrative, through the propaganda. So there is a lot of propaganda there. So what kind of narrative, what kind of things Balochi, I just want you to elaborate a bit about the narrative Balochi people want to be shared there, to be acknowledged there, to be acknowledged in Islamabad.
It is not what the Balochi people want. It is what the Balochi people actually need and what is there. They have joined Pakistan voluntarily. They are part and parcel of Pakistan. Their future lies with Pakistan. But we have to tell them, if India can do propaganda from across the border, from thousands of kilometers away, why can't we do in a much better way? So the way the India, you said that they manipulate the minds of the Baloch people. Yes, they do. But we are in a better position. We have to invest scientifically and socially and many other aspects. That your future lies in Pakistan. Currently, a Baloch is a president of Pakistan. Asif Ali Zardari Saab is a Baloch. A Baloch remained Prime Minister of Pakistan. Jamali Saab was a Baloch. A Baloch can be a corps commander. A Baloch can be can have any sort of opportunity in Pakistan. Why you are limiting the options for the Baloch people? These people, the BLA and BLF, their narrative is actually so weak, but unfortunately, the people are accepting it. But our narrative is genuinely very strong. It is not just some sort of propaganda. We are at a very strong footing, but the way we promote ourselves is actually has many serious things we need to self introspect. Like the General Pervez Musharraf, I recently visited Balochistan, and I was and apprehension that due to Bukti Sab issue, Pervez Musharraf will have very negative rating. But the Baloch people said that this was Pervez Musharraf. For the first time, we felt empowered in Balochistan the way he gave power at the local level, the local government system. Why can't we revive that for Pervez Musharraf's local government system in Balochistan? We need to empower the councillors, the mayors, the other. I met the Turbat mayor. He said that no line department is under me. But in Pervez Musharraf's era, even police was under the mayor of cities. So we have a solution. Why can't we implement that? There is that in the books. Pervez Musharraf's local government system is the best solution to the Balochistan. And narrative will automatically emerge from that when we will empower Baloch. That is the issue that where we lack.
That's That's very important aspect that you have raised. Thank you so much, Abdullah Khan sir, for joining us tonight. We were joined by Abdullah Khan, who's a security analyst, and we were talking about the things that are needed in Balochistan. Obviously, we have seen how the neighboring countries are promoting progress directly and indirectly through media, through narrative building, through propaganda as well. So, moving forward towards you, Brigadier Haris Nawaz, that we have seen Pakistan is fighting against the militants, but on the other hand, we have always been very open to go to the talking table. So how might these actions influence Pakistan's international image in terms of the counter-terrorism strategy?
You see, the point is Pakistan has to go for 3-4 prong strategy. We have to work it out. Number one is that we have to keep fighting with the terrorists who are raising arms against armed forces and the state of Pakistan. Number two, we must contact the Baloch National Party. We must talk to them and see what are their problems, what do they want, what are their difficulties, what do they feel about the things. And then the federal government people should go to Quetta and talk to them and find some solution. Third is the social welfare work. You see, now recently the government has done, they've given 1 billion rupees to each district. And Deputy Commissioner, SSP, along with the MN and MP of that area, along with the community person, they have been told to work out a plan for that district about all the need the development in that area you have to carry out. And next year, it's going to be 3 billions per district. So that is a good thing. Along with that, we have to we have to build a counter narrative. The way India or social media or Afghan Taliban regime network is working, and they're trying to create a gap between Pakistan armed forces and people of Pakistan to weaken our forces and then do whatever they want to do, like Libya, Syria, or Iraq. We have to build a narrative and we make a counter narrative. We employ 300-400 young, talented girls and boys who are qualified IT information technology. They have to build the narrative and they have to tell what all army or government of Balochistan, federal government is doing in Balochistan for the people of Balochis, their development, school, colleges, health facilities, then industrial development, the job opportunities for the people. Then they will understand what the government is doing. Then they will not go toward that propaganda which is negative and fake propaganda, that it's going to be actual propaganda. That is very important. I don't know why the federal government is not making all these things. Then, lastly, of course, we have talked to Americans, tell them what you have left in Afghanistan. Now you have to help Pakistan. We don't want any financial support, but at least military support they have to give us so that we can sort them out. Along with the flow of money which is coming from America to this Afghan Taliban regime, it should be stopped. No money, there is going to be very easy job for Pakistan armed forces to sort these tests out. So these are the measures we have to take. Along with, we have to tell the youth that they are doing their brainwash, how they motivate young girls and boys to go and become suicide bombers. That we have to counter. It is a responsibility of society also. The problem is we leave everything with the government. Why can't the parent find a difference when there are 4 children and one child suddenly he was very good in studies, doing very hale and hearty, and suddenly one day his results are not doing well. He is aloof, watching all the time TV, mobile. They're not talking to the parents, eating habits have changed. So he should be picked up. What is the reason? If the check come to know when they see the mobile, they will see these under whose influence. So these are things we have to do it. And like with the teachers in the colleges, they must see how the one certain student behavior is changed, why it is changed. Please have counseling, you come to know. So if the whole society has to make a part of also. So I think if we do all these things, I'm sure this problem can be overcome.
Exactly. You have raised such valid concerns. Thank you so much, Brigadier Retired Haris Nawaz, for joining us tonight. We were joined by Brigadier Retired Haris Nawaz, who's defense analyst, and we were discussing about the intelligence-based operations as was carried out by security forces in Balochistan, result in killing 108 militants. Obviously, we were discussing about the neighboring countries, the role they are playing in promoting progress in Balochistan. So now moving forward towards US-Iran tensions, where US President Donald Trump has issued a warning to Iran to end its nuclear program or stop killing the protesters, saying Tehran could face military actions if it fails to comply. Iran has rejected the limits to its defensive and missile capabilities, but says that it is open for any kind of fair talks. So regional efforts, including by Turkey, are underway to mediate between the two countries and to reduce the tensions in the Middle East. So we'll discuss about that. For that, we are joined by former Ambassador Ayaz Muhammad Khan Sahab. Ayaz Muhammad Khan Sahab, welcome to the show. What do you think that? What are the potential consequences if Iran refuses to end its nuclear program or, limits on its protesters' treatment, as we have seen what Iran is doing?
Manur, it's a highly portentous development, which is taking place. The region is on the edge of the precipice, and as you said, that the consequences for not only for the region, not only for Iran, but beyond for the whole world will be very, very serious. We have to be mindful of the fact that the previous war, which took place in June last year between Iran, Israel, and United States, it pushed the oil prices high. It also disrupted the oil supply to Asian countries, Asian continent. And similarly, if another war takes place, and this time as the Iranian leadership has vowed, and they have clearly stated that the response will be much more massive than it was in June last year. So we really cannot predict the scale of the devastation of the consequences, not only on the strategic environment in the region and the whole world, but also the economic consequences will be very, very terrible, I would say.
I'll discuss about the economic consequences and economic challenges not to Iran but to the region as well. But how does this Iran's refusal, to limit its defensive and missile capabilities affect the regional security, considering the fact that there are a lot of countries sharing border with Iran? So how would it affect those countries as well?
Well, certainly the spillover effect, as I said, cannot remain within Iran only. The spillover will certainly affect the adjoining countries in the region. That is why there is a very hectic diplomatic effort going on behalf of Turkey and Qatar, to have some kind of to dissuade Mr. Trump from taking a military action against Iran. And we know that Saudi Arabia, UAE, and other countries have also assured Iranian leadership that their airspace would not be used. They would not allow their airspace for any kind of military action against Iran, because the Iranian leadership has vowed that that they have much bigger arsenal now available to them of missiles. Ballistic missiles particularly, and also they have deployed their navy in the Strait of Hormuz. So the consequences certainly for adjoining countries will be quite ominous, which cannot be predicted right now. But everybody knows that when a war takes place, you can always start a war, but you do not know how to end it. And that is what is, a matter of grave concern for not only for Pakistan, but for other regional countries.
Exactly. So to talk about the ground situation in Iran, we are joined by Iranian journalist M.John Hussain. M.John Hussain, welcome to the show. What do you think about the current situation? And especially, I'll ask you before moving towards the current situation, what is the ground situation in Iran with regards to the protests that are going on there and the threat and the warning issued by US? What is the sentiment of people there?
Thank you for having me. No protest going on in Iran. All the journalists who are here from Al Jazeera, RT, CGTN, Al Mayadeen, all of the international organizations who are monitoring this situation, all of them have said that the protests have ended. And even when the protests did happen, their scale was exaggerated, manipulated, even though there was, even during the internet blackout, there was access given to media organizations. I myself had access. So all of those present here are saying that there are no protests going on. And the sentiments amongst the Iranian people are that they are basically not welcomed by any of the remarks that President Donald Trump is giving. And they are requesting their government to stand firm on the issue of sovereignty and national integrity. And it has been historically true that whenever an outside aggressor comes into a sovereign nation, the people of that country unite. And the same situation you see in Iran as well. On the level of the officials, right now, there are high preparations for if an attack or a mistake happens by the United States to attack Iran, Iran will use its sovereign right to exercise self-defense, again in accordance with the United Nations Article 2 to Article 5 of the UN Charter. And of course, precisely because of the situation that has been created in the region, Iran is not taking any of the talks of negotiation seriously from the United States, because it sees it as a surrender of sovereignty for Iran. And nuclear talks about the nuclear enrichment, talks about ballistic missile program. All of these talks have happened before, and even during the 12-day war, there were talks going on. But then Iran was surprised and attacked spontaneously by Israel. So they are prepared for the worst, and at the same time, they are welcoming negotiations if they are done on an equal basis, on a mutual respect basis, and not under the threat of war.
All right. So, as you have mentioned about the negotiations that Iran would accept, if it would come on the equal basis. So, what do you think about the role countries like Turkey play in mediating between U.S. and Iran? Do you think that it is a right time to negotiate, because we have seen the tensions between the both countries are escalating with the passage of time?
Absolutely, I think it's the right time to de-escalate matters. But the point is that the United States is not nudging its position. They are firm on the fact that even though they said that they have destroyed the Iran nuclear program, they are saying that Iran should not have its own nuclear program. Even though they have not cared about human rights all around the world, they are targeting Iran on that basis. So absolutely, there are efforts that are being done, and they are welcoming. But at the same time, we need to understand that Iran has refused to have any talks under the threat of war. You cannot have negotiation in a position where the other person is holding a gun to the head. So Iran's only request is that once the United States stops threatening its with its armada or whatever, the Iranian government was more than willing to negotiate with the United States, and obviously their condition is that it has to be done on mutual basis.
All right. Stay with us. We'll discuss with you about its regional impact as well. Moving forward towards you, Ayaz Mohammad Khan Saab. How might this escalating tensions between US and Iran impact the global energy markets and the international diplomacy? What do you think about that? Because we have discussed about its security threats to the neighboring countries, to the region, but how might it would affect the global market and the energy sector in the global market?
Well, certainly, as I mentioned initially, that when the military action took place against Iran in June last year, it pushed the oil prices quite high, and it also disrupted the supply of oil to burgeoning economies in Southeast Asia, India, China, South Korea, etc. So this is what the fear is, that if the military action does take place against Iran, it will have very serious consequences for the economies of the world, because everything is tied with energy. All industries in the world, they require energy, oil, fuel, etc. So and we also know that the Strait of Hormuz is the passage of 1/3 of oil from various parts of the world, particularly Middle Eastern countries which are rich in oil and gas. They send their oil and gas through Strait of Hormuz to Asian countries, which certainly, if if the supply is disrupted, then it will have very negative and adverse effect on the economies of those countries. So it's a very serious situation, and that is why the other countries, particularly the regional countries, they are putting their weight behind the diplomatic solution, and are trying to persuade Mr. Trump not to go for a military action, because it will disrupt the whole economic situation in the whole world.
All right. Your point is well taken. Moving forward towards you, M.John Hussain, being a journalist based in Iran, what do you think that what are the risks of miscalculations on conflict between the US and Iran at this stage? Because we have seen there are only few mediators who offered their services in terms of de-escalation of tensions between the two countries. But do you really think that US and Iran both are miscalculating the damage that would happen if there would be all-out war?
I think that the question pertains to the United States only rather than Iran, because it is the United States which has come into Iranian territory or the Middle Eastern territory and asked Iran to basically surrender. If we see that the United States, for example, tomorrow comes to, let's say, Pakistan and blockades the Indian Ocean and says that Pakistan should give up its nuclear weapons, we wouldn't be talking about economic Pakistan not being able to export certain things to other countries or certain countries not being able to import things from Pakistan. It is a serious sovereignty issue, and the countries in the region recognize that it's Iran's calculation per se that they have to respond in order for them to survive regionally and as an independent country as well. If there are, however, any attacks by the United States, obviously, as my colleague here said, that there will be economic conditions imposed on the region through the Strait of Hormuz, and the United States is miscalculating regarding the Iranian response to the situation, and perhaps the United States also recognizes that there will be severe consequences of having an attack on Iran, which is primarily why they've stationed their aircraft behind Oman rather than going to the Strait of Hormuz. You also see countries such as Russia and China who are now willing to conduct joint military drills, joint navy drills with Iran in February in the Strait of Hormuz. So you see how the United States has not been taking any, it has not considered any of the economic or regional impacts that would happen on any country wherever they want to come into or invade. You saw that they did so in Venezuela, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and it is not a matter for the United States to look into what the consequences might be. They are obviously they are a global power, and they are obviously pressurized by Israel and its APAC lobbies to take action, and so Israeli interests somehow prevail in this situation, and we will see that if the United States can bear the burden of that pressure.
Exactly that. You have raised such valid point as if there would be all-out war, it is not only Iran who would suffer, but not only the regional countries, the world would suffer, the world energy market would suffer. So I'll ask this question from you and from Ayaz both. I'll request you, John Hussain, please answer this question. That who could be the potential mediator in this situation? What do you think? Name the countries you think 1, 2, 3 could be the potential mediators in this situation.
I think that Qatar, Turkey, and Pakistan can be valid, very, very strong partners in terms of negotiating between the United States and Iran. Donald Trump likes Pakistan right now. He is in favor of our government, and Pakistan is respected internationally. The Field Marshal is particularly well liked by Donald Trump, and I think that they can persuade the United States. They have enough leverage to persuade the United States into not taking any action. And I think that it is imperative that action must be taken by any countries in the region to de-escalate the matters. And I think these three partners are crucial for any of the situation that we might see in the future.
All right, Ayaz Khan, what do you think that who could be the potential mediator in this situation between US and Iran?
Well, I'm quite skeptical. Sorry, I don't know who you are asking.
I'm asking you, Ayaz Sahab. I'm asking you that who could be the potential mediator in this situation?
Well, not only the potential, but the actual mediators, who are actively involved in de-escalating the situation are Turkey and Qatar right now. Pakistan does have some goodwill with Mr. Trump. Pakistani leadership has some goodwill with him, and we can also play our role. But we have to bear in mind that Mr. Trump once he decides to do something, whatever the consequences, are, he does not care about that, and he takes the action. We have seen in the case of Venezuela, and after the successful, quote-unquote, successful operation against Mr. Maduro in Venezuela, he feels more emboldened and more encouraged that he can probably, use the same playbook against Iran as well and try and change the regime in Iran. But it's a different scenario where the political situation, the clergy, particularly in Iran, is very well entrenched. They have several layers of leadership there, and they're quite strong there. So it would not be so easy for Mr. Trump, as perhaps he's thinking in his mind that he can carry out the same formula against Iran. Therefore, I'm really skeptical whether he would really listen to any sane voices to desist from the military action that he has in his mind to take. So far, after creating a big hype, and we were expecting that the military action will take place in the last 1 or 2 days, but he has so far stopped himself from going ahead. I hope that sanity will prevail and he will listen to the sane voices and will not do something which will have grave consequences for the security and peace in the region and the whole world.
All right, all right. So, Ambassador Sir, what do you think that, considering the previous efforts in mediation between US and Iran, we have seen that Iran is facing sanctions since decades. So, how effective have previous diplomatic efforts been in curbing the Iran's nuclear ambitions, and what lessons can be applied now, considering this situation where the tensions are escalating day by day?
Look, you see, Mahnoor, the reason Iranians are reluctant to engage into any kind of negotiated settlement with Mr. Trump is for the fact that Mr. Trump is the one who unilaterally pulled United States out of JPOAC that was signed in 2015, and then he's the same person while the negotiations were taking place between the officials of United States and Iran. It was Mr. Trump who ordered military action against Iran. So I mean, Iranians have a reason to really be skeptical, to be wary of Mr. Trump. That once when on the one hand, when he is negotiating, he's at the negotiation table, and on the other hand, he's ordering his military to pound on Iranian facilities inside, nuclear facilities, particularly inside Iran. So the mediation efforts, I don't know whether they will bear any fruit or not. But personally speaking, I think that as much as I have understood the Iranian leadership's mindset, I think that they are prepared. They are preparing themselves for a military action, and for them, any negotiations at this time, and especially negotiations under duress, will be a hoax for them. And I think they are not serious about it, and they will not engage with the United States unless there are reasonable sureties from the Western world and United States that negotiated settlement is going to take place and will be abided by.
All right, all right. You have raised such valid concerns that they are preparing themselves for the military action. Do we have, okay, so at the end, I'll ask you, what do you see in the coming days or weeks? Because we have seen, as you have already mentioned, as John has mentioned, that it is not Iran who will decide, because it is US who will decide. Iran has already given the option that we are open to the free talks, but we are not going to limit our defensive missiles capabilities. So what do you think, what's coming in the coming days, as you think that Iranian leadership is preparing for, military actions to deter this thing and to do something else? So what do you think that, what is US preparing for?
I think the ball is in I think
again and again by sending the Armadas. What do you think about that?
Well, I think the ball is in Mr. Trump's court right now, and he has to, as I said, he has to pay heed to the sane voices in the world, because if any kind of military action, as we know that that it's not feasible right now, and Iranians, the kind of conditions that have been laid out by U.S. officials against Iran is that it has to disarm itself, completely. Well, if Iran does agree, and I doubt very much that Iran would agree to reducing its missile arsenal and also reduce the range of its missiles, and also do away with its enriched uranium, which if it has some stockpile available to itself. And also that the third condition laid out is that Iran should de-link itself, divorce itself from the proxies in the Middle East, Hezbollah, Hamas, and Houthis, in Yemen. So this tantamounts to completely surrendering Iran in the feet of Mr. Trump, which certainly is not acceptable and should not be acceptable for any sovereign state. Therefore, the situation right now is kind of a stalemate. It's very precarious. It is fraught with serious consequences. And my personal hunch is that Mr. Trump perhaps will go ahead because his armada is within the striking range of Iran. USS Abraham Lincoln is there. They have surrounded Iran from all sides. There are destroyers deployed in the Red Sea. The basis,
Well taken. Your point is well taken, Ayaz Muhammad Khan Sahab. We are so thankful to you for joining us tonight and shedding light on the US-Iran tensions. We were joined by former Ambassador Ayaz Muhammad Khan Sahab, and then we were having Iranian journalist M.John Hussain to discuss about the ground situation in Iran. So in tonight's news at 7, we have discussed about the intelligence-based operation that was carried out by security forces, resulted in killing 108 militants in Balochistan, and then we have discussed about the recent escalation in tensions between US and Iran. So that's it from tonight's news at 7. This is your host Mahnur Qureshi signing off. Take care. Keep watching Pakistan TV.